So I want to welcome on now a good friend of ours, George Williams. George, you've been a client and now you help coach with Summit. So how long ago did you start with Summit?
2006. I think it was May of 2006. As an interest,
Okay, and
you want to hear a story about that?
please, yes.
Okay. So I was reading a painting. I think it was painting American painting contractor, and I was
Okay,
reading about Evan Nolan, and I said, "Wow, this guy's only 120 miles from my office. He sounds really good." I said, "Nobody could be better than me." And then I read about the consulting group. I read about Brian and Andrew. So I decided to give them a call. And Andrew got on the phone and called me about a half a dozen times, and it wasn't clicking with me and Andrew. Brian called me
okay,
once. There was instant chemistry. I was sold. I was down there in May, right before Memorial Day weekend 2006, and I was in awe of not only Brian and Andrew, what they were trying to do at that time. They were just evolving, but I was in awe of Kevin's operation, and it was spectacular, and it's even more spectacular now.
yeah, it definitely has grown in a really interesting way lately, and it's exciting to see what's ahead too.
Absolutely.
So before you joined Summit, what were some of the issues you were facing on a regular basis with, well, let's start with your business. So you have a painting company. Tell us about that.
We have a family-owned painting contracting company that started on July 22nd, 1906. So by the time I met Brian, we were already just about 100 years old, a little shy of 100
Okay.
years old. And we were doing about 4.5 million a year. And when I say we were doing it, it was me and my partner, who's my older brother. And we did
Mhm.
everything. We did estimating, we ran the jobs. Um, Everything had to go through us, and there lies the big problem.
Right.
Uh, so letting go of that took years, but that was we had systems, but we didn't have systems and processes that were sophisticated to run a business of that size, nor to allow us to grow.
Gotcha. So starting in 2006, you guys were able to implement some systems into your painting company.
Tell you an interesting story. 2006, we went down to the first ascent, and I was blown away. Then they had the Grand Summit. I think it was in San Diego or Scottsdale, whatever. And I didn't go because at that point I was afraid of flying. I didn't like to fly. So I sent one of my guys that I sent, Paul Vigiano, out there. And I stood on the sidelines. I didn't jump in to the summit philosophies and systems and processes until 3 years later. I mean, I had calls with Brian periodically. I missed a lot of calls, and big mistake, big mistake. So I would tell anybody who's joining Summit, dive in, head first, both feet in from the very beginning, from the first day. So when I decided to dive in was when the economy was crashing, 2008, and I needed
Yep.
help.
Hmm.
And I reached out to Brian, and I decided to do a different deal where I wanted Brian to coach me personally, and I wanted Andrew to coach me on numbers. And
Hmm.
so we went from almost 5 million in 2008 to about 2.8 in 2009. And
Wow.
yeah, they helped us survive and prosper. So
Okay. So now you're here, 2019, and what can you say like some direct results of implementing the new systems and processes have been?
well, we've increased the size of our company. We'll hit 8 million this year. We have 70 employees. The
Hmm.
big part is that I'm pretty much out of the hourglass. And when I say
Yeah.
pretty, the only reason why I may still be in the hourglass is my own reluctance to let go of a few things. We launched a concrete coatings division. We did an acquisition in 2010. We have financial systems and processes in place that make the money flow in seamlessly. We didn't have that before. We have a system for recruiting. Like I said, I never had 70 people before. We've had 55, 56, but never 70. and we did it with a planned recruiting program. Our marketing is more directed. So we have a better marketing plan. We just overall, we have a better crew leader system. The biggest thing that we have now is two things. We have a culture of hours. Before it was man days. We have a
Hmm.
culture of safety, and we have a culture of accountability. And
That's awesome.
biggest things, yeah, tremendous.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. So when you think about all the different aspects and all the different benefits that come along with being a Summit member, what would you say you benefit the most from if you had to pick one or two?
I love oh, it's hard to pick one or two. Uh, so
Well, you could just list them all if you really like.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I love. I just got off a call with Brian this morning, and Brian inspires me, as does Andrew. So I love the coaching calls. I love coaching. I have only 2 clients now, but I love mentoring to these younger guys and helping them not to make the mistakes I made. I love when we go to the Grand Summit or to some of the retreats. The camaraderie is really great, and I'm probably one of the oldest guys there. These guys keep me young. They keep me
Yeah.
young, and I like the Brian is incredible. He's always coming up with a new twist and something new for this, and he just keeps it fresh. He keeps it vibrant, and it's hard for me to pick one of them. It's just a great organization to be a part of,
Yeah.
and on a small note, a great organization to work for. I mean,
Yeah.
I love these guys, so it's
Yeah.
good. It's all
The
good.
the energy is very contagious, and I think it spreads to the people that work here and to the people that are all clients and Summit members.
That's it. You bring that up. They have a great culture, and our culture around here has changed tremendously. It's now a happier place. It's just. I think I get a lot of that from Summit. It's just a good place to be here and to work. And we're doing more outreach to our community. Um, we're doing more employee-based fun things. I've also
Mhm.
started a scholarship program within the company. We give away 5 scholarships a year to
Wow.
employees whose kids are bound for college. It's not much
Hmm.
money, $1,000. We do stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done much of these things if it wasn't for Brian and Kevin and Andrew. They really inspired me. They've taken the painting business and the industry to a greater height, a greater level. The best thing I can say is, and I'll put this classically, I used to be embarrassed about being a painting contractor. I'm a
Yeah.
professional. I'm a professional businessman. I am not embarrassed anymore. So
That's awesome.
that's it.
That's so great. That's awesome to hear. So, last thing, we'll let you go. You've been great and really enjoyed having this and appreciate it very much. But the last thing we want to talk about is so if there's somebody that feels like they're stuck in the hourglass and is considering joining Summit, what type of recommendations would you have for that business owner?
I have recommended Summit in the past. I'll continue to recommend Summit. The guys who don't join are small thinkers, and they're thinking about the rate per month and all that. They don't get it. I
Hmm.
would tell that new member, I'd mentor them and say, dive right in. Dive right in. And you know what? You're going to feel overwhelmed at first. Pick one thing at a time to work on. You can't do it all at once. Just pick one thing at a time. Wrap your head around those 90-day plans, and you'll be fine. And also remember, it's your business. Some guys want to do 20 million. Some guys are happy at 2 million, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing about all the members there. There's no competition. Everybody's
Right.
respectful of each other's position.
Right. Right.
So
Totally. And all the things, it's all adaptable. All the systems and processes you can put in place, there are different things for different levels. So as you grow, I'm
right.
sure you're a great example of this as someone who has grown significantly in this time with Summit. You know what different levels the systems that and processes we have in place can help you do that.
It's interesting to what you're saying. To your point, before I thought I could only run a paint business. I really think now I can wrap my head and pretty much run any business because of the things I've learned from Brian, Evan, and Andrew.
Yeah,
All
that's
good.
awesome. That's so cool. Well, George, thank you so much. This has been great. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting.
Thanks.
Thank you.